Hey guys, wanted to do a quick video lesson on how to complete lesson 1 of the written assignments that were sent to you in a packet or that are on Canvas. I just wanted to take some time and maybe just give a lesson on it. So I hope you guys are doing well, and let's get into it. Okay, so on your packet, what the first thing that you're doing is you're trying to identify whole steps and half steps. Now, if you think about a guitar, a whole step would be when you have a fret in between. So let's take a look at our guitar here. All right, so this is your guitar. These are 6 strings across. You have your lower strings and your upper strings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you have 3 frets down, 1, 2, 3. Now, these notes up on top, they're the open notes. All right, just think of it that way. Okay, so when you have a space in between, like let's take a look at this F and this G. Now notice how the F is on the 1st fret and the G is actually on the 3rd fret. Notice how there's a space in between there, all right? That would be considered a whole step. So if you had a guitar on you, let me grab a guitar. So if you have a guitar, your F is here, 1st fret, 6th string, and your G is here, 3rd fret. Notice how there's this fret in between, that's the 2nd fret. That would be your whole step, okay? Now, you can do that anywhere on the guitar. So if you have an open D, remember open D is 4th string, and you go up not 1, but 2 frets to your E, that fret in between is creating the whole step between D and E. All right, now again, you can do this anywhere. Let's try it on the 2nd string. So we have our C here, 2nd string, 1st fret. All right, now we're gonna go up a whole step to D. All right, notice how there's a space in between here. That space is creating the whole step between C and D. Now, there's a couple different ways that I want you to know how to do this. So I put up a keyboard on your paper as well, all right? So notice how on the keyboard, it just keeps repeating itself. It goes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then it goes straight back to C, all right? It repeats itself all the way up and all the way down. So you can start anywhere on a keyboard. 2 different visualizations. They do the same thing, all right? A keyboard, very much like the guitar, exactly the same as far as notes are concerned, all right? So remember our first 2 notes that we tried were F to G. So let's take a look at the keyboard. We have an F here, all right? Notice how there's this black key in between F and G, all right? That black key, think of it as that fret between F and G, all right? That 2nd fret, all right? You have an F sharp or G flat enharmonic equivalents, which mean different names, same exact pitch, okay? So you have the F, and then you can go up to an F sharp or G flat, same thing, and go up to a G, but notice how there's a note in between. That is that fret that is creating the whole step between those 2 notes. All right, our second 2 notes, we went from a D to an E, all right, remember 4th string. Now if we look at the keyboard, we have a D right here, all right? Now if we go right next to it is an E, but notice how there's that D sharp or E flat in between the D and the E, all right? That is creating the whole step between D and E. Now, let's take a second and let's talk about these things that we've talked about before, which are naturally occurring half steps, all right? So remember, in music, there's 2 naturally occurring half steps. There's one between B and C, and there's one between E and F. Now, if we look at our guitar, the E and the F, there's nothing in between it. Anywhere on the fretboard that you go, opened 1st fret on the E string, or on the 4th string, 2nd fret to 3rd fret, nothing in between it, or up here on the top, E to F, nothing in between it. Give me 1 second. Forgot to turn off the dehumidifier. Remember, guitars really like 50% humidity, so this is my room where I keep all my guitars. So I had to keep the humidity real stable, so I have a dehumidifier. Anyway, side conversation. We'll talk about that maybe one day. All right, up here on the top, the E and the F. All right, there's nothing in between there. Now, if we look next to it, the B and the C, there's nothing in between there either. B and C down here at the 5th string, 2nd to 3rd fret, there's nothing in between there, all right? If we look at the keyboard, it's exactly the same way. We have these black keys in between certain notes, but there's 2 pairs of notes where the black keys do not appear on the keyboard. E to F, notice there's no black key, and then B to C, there's no black key, all right? So those are those naturally occurring half steps. So in your assignment, we were trying to identify half steps and whole steps as they occur in music. So let's do a few, me and you, we'll do them here, and we'll see how they go, all right? So pick a note in your mind. It's an F, right? It'd be cool if it was. Let's pick this F right here. All right, so we have an F down here. Remember spaces, F-A-C-E, and then lines, every good boy does fine. All right, so we have an F here. And I'm going to go up to this note, G. All right, so what we can do is we can go over to our fretboard. You go F to G. Okay, F to G. Oh, there's a space in between it. Now, just to double check, let's go over here to our keyboard. We're going F to G. Well, there's a black key in between it, all right? So that black key or that space, that is creating what we call whole step, all right? So we're just gonna put our W. Easy peasy. Let's try another one. Let's try D to E. Okay, so D to E. Let's find our D. So D here, going up to E, there's that space in between. So we create that natural whole step because there's that space in between. Now let's check our work, all right? So we have D to E, there's a black key in between, that is creating that space as a whole step. So we have another whole step. All right, let's try one more just for a good measure, all right? Let's try this. Let's get a little bit funky. All right, we have an F sharp and we're going to a G. Okay, so let's find our F sharp. Where's our F sharp? Now, I didn't label the sharps on the fretboard, but we know that F sharp is just 1 fret above F. So we have that F sharp on the 2nd fret, and we're going up to a G. So notice there's no space in between. So I'm thinking it's a half step, but let's make sure. Let's take a look at our keyboard. So we look at the keyboard up here. We have F sharp. It's a black key, and it's going to G, which is a white key. And notice how there is no space in between. So it's creating nothing but a half step. So we put an H there. I hope that's making sense, all right? Now, synonyms, all right? Synonyms. Different words, same meaning, okay? So let's talk about these synonyms that we're going to start using in this next lesson, all right? The synonyms I want to start using are between half step and whole step, all right? So say whole step and half step. So the synonyms I want to start using are, you guessed it, major second and minor second, okay? So whole step, we're gonna say that this is a major second, all right? And for half step, we're gonna say that it is a minor second. Now, for the minor second, we put a little line over the M, and we make the M just a little bit smaller, all right? That is indicating to us that it's a minor, all right? For major, we're gonna use a big M with a 2 next to it. Now, they're different intervals, so all throughout music. So keep this in mind because we're gonna start adding major third, minor 6, major 6, minor 7th, major 7th. It's going to go on for a while, but for right now, we're only trying to learn minor second and major second. All right. So if it's a half step, it's going to be a minor second, and if it's a whole step, it's going to be a major second. All right. Now, let's try to do that with some examples. So we have our staff here, right? Let's just pick a few different notes. Let's say, one more just for fun. Let's go. Okay, so what you can do is you can figure these out, whole step or half step first, and then you can go back and do the major and minor second. After a while, you'll be able to just label them major and minor second, but for right now, let's do it the long way, okay? So, let's figure these out. We have D sharp to E, all right? So, let's look it up at our keyboard this time. You can do it on guitar, no big deal, but there's a D sharp on the keyboard, it's a black key, and it's going up to the E, right? So, notice there's no space between a D sharp and an E. If we had a D sharp on the guitar, it would be right here on the first fret, fourth string, and it'd be going up to the E, which is on the second fret. Notice there's no fret in between, so it's safe to say that's going to be a half step. All right, let's keep on going. G sharp to A. All right, so we have G sharp up here. It's a black key, and it's going to A. All right, notice there's nothing in between there. This is just going from note to note, all right? If we checked it out over here on the guitar, we have G sharp on the first fret, third string, and it's going up to A on the second fret. G sharp to A, no space in between. So we have another half step, all right? Let's keep on rolling. We have D going to E, all right? So D, white key, E, white key. Couple tingles and jingles and bells are going off in our head because there's that black key in between. That black key is creating the space of a whole step. If we look over here on the guitar, we have an open note D, and we don't go to an E until the second fret, but we still have that first fret in between. So because of that, we're going to say D to E is a whole step. All right? Easy peasy. We're keeping on rolling. G to A. Look over here on the keyboard. Notice how they're both white keys. There's a black key in between. Those are our space that create the whole step. Okay, let's just check it out on guitar. We got G, open, third string, going to A, second fret, not first fret. If it was on first fret, that'd be something different. That'd be a half step. But it's on second fret, there's a first fret in between there. So we're creating space, have a whole step. All right, last one. This one's a little bit tricky, all right? We have a B flat, okay? So let's just call the B flat where it is. First fret, fifth string, we have a B flat, and it's going to C. Now, usually B to C is a naturally occurring half step, but in this case, we made it flat, so we created that space between the two notes, all right? So B flat is actually a couple frets away from C, all right? So we have one, and it's on the second fret that's away from the B flat. So we have C, we have that space, so we call it a whole step. Same idea with the keyboard, but you have to loop back around. We have a B flat right here, okay? That's not a C. C is actually back over here. So we're looping back around. There's that key in between it. That's creating the space, so we have another whole step. Now, before we end today, let's take a look and let's label our half steps and whole steps, either major or minor seconds, all right? So remember, half steps are going to be synonymous with minor second, all right? So our half steps are gonna get the little m and a 2 with a line over it, little m with a line and 2, okay? Now our whole steps are gonna get the big M with a 2, big M with a 2, big M with a 2. Easy peasy, all right? I hope this lesson finds you well. I hope that your family is doing well. I hope that you're doing well. And I hope to see you guys soon. If you have any questions, drop me a little comment in the little box down below, or send me a message, and I will figure out a way to explain it a little bit differently to you. But I think this should help you with the first lesson. Make sure to turn your work on Canvas. Either take a screenshot or make it a PDF and send it to me like that. That way I know exactly where you're at. And I hope to see you guys real soon. All right, bye.